Hello everyone, welcome back to Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. Today we're going to do a double, and I have two 1/6 scale figures by DML, Dragon Models Limited, and these figures are representative of the campaign in North Africa. One saying North Africa 1942, and the other one Libya 1942. Each of these figures were produced in 2001 in Hong Kong by DML. This one here being Reinhardt, and this one Leopold. Now, Leopold is a Falsehood Jaeger, and Reinhardt is a regular army private or Schütze. And sorry for swearing, but Schütze is not what you think it is. Or maybe it is, I don't know. Translations can be kind of weird sometimes. Anyway, let's take a look at it. First, we'll look at the box. And we'll see right away that he's dressed in the classical tropical uniform. The reed green color with the canvas boots. He has goggles and a neck scarf, which are essential in the desert. And then on the back, it talks about the figure, the troops in North Africa, some line drawings of uniform items. And this I found to be very valuable. I think this was printed out by Ron Volstad, the artist who created the illustration for this. Now, if you look at early Ron Volstad illustrations, you can see he's improved a great deal over the years from his earliest work. And I'll be showing you one of his earlier illustrations a little bit later in this video. So let's dive right in and take a look at the figure itself. Okay. Okay, we have the 98K. Some people may not know that the 98K was a little bit shorter and had a turn-down bolt. And hence you can tell it's a 98K instead of a regular Mauser 98. The K standing for carbine, or carbine, I think is the German word. And it has the brown leather ammunition pouches. Comes with a bayonet and an E-tool. So let's come over here and take a look at. I'm going to turn it just a little bit so you can get a good look at them. What I'll do is I'll pan down so that you can see the figure in its entirety. And then we'll come back and talk about it a little further. He's wearing the canvas, what do you call it, suspenders? No. I'm blanking out. I do that every video, so you guys are used to me by now. He's got the canvas boots and something over here which turned out to be quite useless unless you're carrying extra rations in it or something. Was the gas mask canister. He's got his goggles up here and his helmet. The uniform details are quite nice. And I'm not sure that this uniform is that representative of what the men were wearing in the desert, because the guys, I talk like I know these guys. It was unpopular with the troops to wear these canvas boots. You had to lace them. I put on a pair once, and it was they were very uncomfortable, and it took a lot of time to lace them up. Now, something that's kind of weird about dragon figures, I don't know if they later corrected it, but if you look at the sculpting on the face, they don't look quite human. And what I mean by that is they have sort of that weird look that artificial intelligence or robots would have. They look human, but just a little bit off, sort of Westworldy looking. Maybe it's because the skin is too perfect and smooth, but there is something a little off about that. Kind of freakish. But anyway, this is a nice figure. If you're into the North African campaign, this is a great one to own. Oh, I forgot to show you this. That's a nice touch. You can put that on the sleeve of the figure. So there we have Reinhardt from Dragon Models Limited. And you might be able to get this on eBay. I think that back in 2001, I plunked out $50 for this. Now, I remember DML back in those days was pretty expensive, although you could get some figures for as low as $34. So it really depended on where you got them from. And there's another look at the artwork of Ron Volstad. And I really like his work. He does good work, I think. All right, now this one is Leopold. He's a Falsehood Jaeger with the Ramke Brigade. And he was part of the reinforcements sent to Afrika when the Germans realized that they were in trouble because the Americans had landed. Now, originally, the Ramke Brigade was formed to take Malta, and I feel like it was a really bad strategic move on the Germans' behalf not to seize Malta. But after the Crete experience, where they took such heavy casualties, I guess they decided that they would not pursue an invasion of Malta. Now, the problem with that is that with Malta, it was like having a piece of meat stuck in your throat. Ships and planes would intercept supplies coming from Italy and cause a lot of problems with the supply chain for the Germans. The Germans were in chronic shortage for petrol and even basic things like ammunition and food. They always had problems securing those things. So the Germans would get a lot of their things from the British. The Ramke Brigade was famous for, at the Battle of Alamein, they captured a British supply column, and they got a bunch of trucks and fuel and food. And that they said that the thing they liked the most, though, was the cigarettes. So the people smoked a lot in the 1940s. It's kind of hard to believe now because hardly anyone smokes anymore. But it was quite common, even in the 60s and 70s. It still was pretty common. So let's take a look at the box artwork here. You can see that his trousers are bloused. I like to wear cargo shorts personally because they remind me of these Falsehood Jaeger trousers. Now, he's not wearing the typical Luftwaffe field uniform, which was in khaki instead of reed green. The Luftwaffe distinguished itself from the army, the Heer, H-E-E-R. I'm not sure how the Germans would say that. Maybe it's Heer. Well, let's cut our hair off because we don't want to get into that. And you can see he's got the jump helmet. He's not wearing a jump smock. He has the goggles. He's wearing the tropical cap. And on a lot of the tropical caps, they used to have a triangle. And I'm going to point that out to you here. Right here. There is a triangle in a color of the specialty of the troops, such as if you were a Panzer Grenadier, it would be a lime green color. If you were in tanks, it was, I believe, pink, and white for infantry, and red for artillery, and so on and so on. They received an order to remove those because it was giving the British unintended intel, because they would capture a guy and they would know, well, okay, we have panzers in front of us because he's got, the pink, I think it's called a sartouche. I can't remember. I read the book about that like 15 years ago. But anyway, it's just my guess that they asked them to remove that because it would let the British know what kind of troops they were opposed or who were in their immediate front. So here's Ron Volstad's artwork. And you've heard me many times say that I like his things. Okay, and then on the back of the box is the line art. Now, this is what surprised me. I didn't know this until I saw this line artwork, is that it's a tropical shirt with trousers. I thought it was a jumpsuit. And even when I had this figure out of the package, I thought it was a jumpsuit. But it is indeed a shirt and trousers. You'll notice that it has a strap and buckle to blouse the trouser. Okay, now the Luftwaffe had a tropical boot of its own, which instead of a reed green canvas was sort of a tan canvas, and the leather was a darker brown than the sort of russet brown of the regular army. So let's take a look up at Leopold. And there he's got his combat harness, canteen, and bread bag, E-tool, bayonet, mess tin, M24 grenade, ammunition pouches for the M40. Let's come up here. And this one is real creepy. Remember I was telling you that they sort of look like androids? This guy really has that sort of super smooth complexion. And it's weird looking. Westworld looking. Other than that, the detail's very nice on this. And then there's his helmet up there. And his cap. Goggles, MP40. That's a map case. And I can't make out what's on the bottom. Oh, binoculars. Can you guys see that? The light is kind of messing us up there. Okay. So you know how Iggy likes to go on and on about how they didn't like the boots and they would blouse the pants. I guess I obsess over that a little too much. Here's an example. This is from Nigel Thomas, illustrated by Stephen Andrew. Now, I really like his artwork too. The only thing I can say about his artwork is every single guy looks like Erwin Rommel. See this guy here? Rommel. See this guy over here? Oops, Rommel. So there must have been a lot of inbreeding in the desert. I don't know. There's a nice view of the bloused pants with the ankle boots. And this is what our figure, Reinhardt, is dressed as. You can see here. The ankle boots. This would be how his gear would be situated. You see the gas canister and his other equipment here. There's his harness. made of canvas. Now, it's my theory that they would probably look more like this guy here. And so how did they blouse their pants like that? Well, they would get a bootlace and sew it into the bottom of the trousers, and then it would create like a drawstring, and that's how they would do it. And I have a picture of that showing a couple of guys eating their rations, and you can see there, here's a close-up, and you can see there's like a drawstring on the pants. They would use bootlaces or a piece of material, and they would sew them into the cuff. Look how young they were. I wonder if these guys... do you guys do that when you look at an old picture and wonder if the guy made it? Anyway, I thought that was an interesting picture showing that. I want to show you this picture because one of these guys looks really goofy and it made me laugh. This guy here. He's like, hello there. I just got me a custom-made uniform. It didn't quite fit, though. And these two guys are going, oi, what a putz. But what's interesting about it is we have a guy here wearing captured British gaiters. We have a guy with his pants bloused. And we have one who's no attempt at blousing. So I thought that was an interesting picture as well. Now, let's take a look at the Falsehood Jaeger. And here we have a Falsehood Jaeger from the Ramke Brigade who is in the tropical uniform as opposed to the shirt and trousers. You can see here that he's wearing the trouser with the Luftwaffe field jacket, which I thought was interesting. This guy up here is wearing captured British boots, gaiters, and trousers. I wouldn't recommend that. If you got captured, they would probably assume that you stripped the dead or something, and that wouldn't go too well for you. And this guy here, he's in his off time, so he's out hunting. The German shorts that they wore were much shorter than the British version. I'm trying to think. The British version was 1937, I think. And they're a much longer short. They go down to almost to the knees here. But the Germans, they preferred the shorter ones. Now these Germans here are wearing the jump smock, and he's got the green of the European green, and he's got it looks like a splintered patterned jump smock. Now this motorcycle here was released by Ultimate Soldier, and I was actually able to get one of those. I really love it, and I have a couple figures like this set up. I tried to recreate this pose that you see here. I attempted to recreate that. Right now, of course, it's in storage along with the rest of my things, as I've complained and whined about many times to you to the point of nauseum. Okay, guys, that's pretty much what I have for you this time. The Dragon Models Limited Reinhardt and Leopold. Now, I mentioned to you that Ron Volstad's style had improved over the years. I want to make a quick comparison for you. Here's Ron Volstad in 2001. Well, not him personally, but his artwork. And here it is, I think in 1973. Now, he's still pretty good, but you can see not quite the same level of confidence that this artwork exhibits. So let's go into, this is a book by Squadron Signal. I love these books. They have one. They have one for the Waffen SS and Panzer Grenadiers, and so on. This particular one being focused entirely on. Oh God! Why don't I mark these so we don't? I was hoping to find a photo of Max Schmeling, the boxer, who fought Joe Louis. Was it Joe Louis? Anyway, there's Max Schmeling. Quite a propaganda coup for Goebbels to have that. Oh, here we go. This is what we're looking for. Here we go. Now, none of these show the shirt and trouser combination that we have here on Leopold. All of these figures are wearing the jump smock. But you see in the early war, they had these sort of a slate blue trouser. Okay, guys, that's all I've got for you. I hope I didn't spend too much time talking about blousing pants. Sometimes I get lost in certain details that are not of a great deal of interest to everyone. So I hope you enjoyed this, and you know what? Before we go, this is already a long video, so it won't hurt to go a little bit longer. This is the figure of Rommel that they produced, and I was very disappointed when I pulled this out of the box. And it's empty. So it's in, I have a tub of figures that, in storage that it's probably in there. And then I found some other African figures that are really excellent. Now these... Wait a minute, is that Heath? Cowboy Carl's brother. Heath. It sure looks like him. Anyway, this is fantastic detail on these Blue Box International toys. I want to do a video on these because these are probably my favorite. These and something called In the Past Toys. They're absolutely... Look at this parachute, guys. That is really cool. That's a flare gun with the flare belt with flares. Unfortunately, he's missing too. And then I found a dispatch rider. And let me move this so you can get a better view of him. There we go. And let me see. Does this open up? Oh, I have it backwards. Okay, that's what's wrong. Now, I was also disappointed when I opened and revealed, oops, he's gone. His equipment is still here. His tropical helmet, so I must have put him in a steel pot. Because you can see there that there was a steel pot there. And that's a pretty cool figure. And then I found another one. So I think out of the box of 7, I think 4 of them were... Now this one I think is the In the Past Toys. Now the art design for the box was... not too exciting, but it does feature actual photographs of the Afrika Korp. And this one was a tank commander, and all I had in here was a pair of pants with suspenders. But if you look at that, the detail on these trousers is amazing. Look at those little buttons, and the suspenders actually button onto the pants. It's really incredible detail. I don't know if it shows a picture of what... No. I was hoping we'd have a picture of the figure, but it's not there. Anyway, I'll have to find that one of these days and show you what those figures are like. Now, I think I have, at one point I had 217 figures. I sold 53 of them in at the flea market to try and raise money to pay the rent, and I lost really heavily. Like, these figures would cost, like I said, $35 to $50 originally, and I was getting like $10, $15 at tops. But, you know, gosh, when you're desperate, guys, I mean, some of you probably know that feeling when you have to pay the rent. You don't want to be out on the street, so you do what you have to do. Anyway, I still have 200 or almost 200 figures, so I'm spoiled. I don't need to have more. Although with collectors, more is better, right? Anyway, guys, thank you for indulging me. This is sort of an extra long video today because I'm showing the two figures. So thanks for getting Iggy with it. And I'll try and get something fun for you to look at with my next video. Until then, you guys have a good night. Thanks for coming along, okay? Bye, guys.